The 20s are probably the best year of your lives. This is when you are introduced to the real world after being the terrible teenager for years. In the next few years, you are going to figure out what you are going to do with the rest of your life. Most people end up running their 20s by making horrible financial decisions that will bear on their shoulders for the many decades to come, such as the student debt, although most people take it when they are still teenagers. Looking back at my life, I knew very little about the money because I grew up in a family where my parents didn't care about financial literacy. So I grew knowing very little about money. All they cared about were my goals at schools. Guess what happened? I made everything financial mistakes you can think about. I was naive and I thought that I am the know everything else there is known about money. You can't blame me because no one taught me anything about money. I had figured everything on my own. There wasn't even the such channel like Wednesday Mind that would teach me everything I need to know about money. I was on my own, but if I would go back in time, there are a few things that I wish I knew. If I knew these things, I would take the different financial decisions, and I guess I would have to become financially free much sooner. So, if you are in your 20s, or even if you're a teenager, you think that what I'm about to share with you is going to be extremely helpful because it's not like when you hit the certain age you suddenly get better at managing money. Aren't these 40 to 50 years olds who are still doing terrible financially? That's why pay attention because that's you're about to learn might be the most important things you will ever learn. So give this video a thumbs up and let's get right into it. Don't worry to do everything on your own. Back then I used to think that I can do everything on my own. Why do I need the partner when I can outwork everyone? But the reality is having the partner is any project is going to save a lot of time and mistakes because you always need to co-founder to balance you out. It doesn't matter where it is the startup or the small businesses, a YouTube channel. If you can get a partner who is equally interested in the project to work together, yes, of course you will have to share the profits or the business, but it's the better to share the huge pie rather than having the small little pie by yourself. No matter how smart or talented you are not perfect, especially in your 20s. You are guaranteed to make a lot of the mistakes, so you always need someone besides you to tell you that you are wrong. And vice versa, of course. Every project that I have started with the co-founders has always grown much faster than any project that I did on my own. So don't be selfish and learn how to work with teams. Remember, you are still a kid and your knowledge is very limited, so always be open to take a look at opposite sides. Of course, you could be right, but you also could be wrong. And being open-minded is going to save you a lot of the money and time. Don't be naive. If you in one things I would tell my younger self is don't be naive. When you are 20 years old college kid, you think that you have to figure everything out. You make all these plans only to grow a little up and realize how naive you were and that the world works in a completely different way. Or just because you work hard, you think you deserve more, but when you grow up, you realize that no one cares about how hard you work. What matters at the end of the day is the financial final outcome. No one really cares about your grades. Once you are out there in the workplace, that matters how much you can help the company. Grow your grades are the least important things. I remember how my friends used to take loans just to buy the cool car because that will get them the girls. I'm not sure that how naive you have to be to thinking like that. Maybe there is a small number of the girls who would hang out with you just because you are a cool car, even if you shouldn't shouldn't hang out with such girls because all they want is the end of the day is to drain the last dollar out of you. All these naive perceptions push you to take horrible financial decisions and unnecessary finance responsibilities. Which brings me to the point number three. Don't take the financial responsibilities you can afford. I have many friends who fell in love in their 20s, got married, and already have the kids that go to schools. Whenever I talk to them, they really feel old because I don't have kids, neither I am married. But the problem was that they were not ready for the financial. So right now they can save money even though they have no longer in their 20s. But because they have kids and a family to support, every penny they earn goes directly to their day-to-pay expenses. And they can't suddenly get rid of their kids and vices. And because they have so many responsibilities, the idea of losing the job is freaking them out because they might be able to cut some of their expenses, but they can sacrifice their families for that. So they stick to their job with their lives and are ready to do everything to keep it. The literally pushed themselves into the corner, and now they will probably never leave it for the rest of their lives. They are forever trapped in that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. So when you have a job, your career moves slowly. You don't get promoted every day. You don't even get promoted every year. So whatever you get, that little promotions, you slightly improve the quality of your life, which means you start spending more. And if God forbid you overuse that credit card, you will spend your entire life just trying to pay your bills. So think twice before you commit to any serious financial responsibility. Fourth, stay away from money wasters. One of the worst things I can ever do is to develop the bad and expensive habits, especially when you are 20 years old, a kid who isn't making a lot of the money. First of all, the extra money you're supposed to save and invest, you are going to waste on another pack of the cigarettes, alcohol, or the gambling, or whatever is your bad expensive habits is. Number two, the opportunity to cost that habit is far bigger than you can possibly imagine. The opportunity cost simply means how much that money would worth if you have invested it otherwise. A package of cigarettes costs around $7, and at least you are the regular smoker and you smoke a package a day. That's $210 a month. Let's say you start smoking when you are turn 18. If you instead invested that money in the S&P 500, for example, assuming you will make a 10% rate of revenue, your portfolio will return to $1.2 million by the time you hit 58. The question is, what's better? Damage lungs that you have to spend a fortune to recover when you are in your late 50s. In fact, you will never probably entirely recover them no matter how much you spend, or $1.2 million of assets. I think the later is a far better options. Of course, if you are the billionaire, you shouldn't care, but you also shouldn't even watch this video. You don't need a lot of the money to have fun. We always think that we need to spend money to have fun, while there is some truth to it, but that's not the entire story. Renting a yacht with friends, throwing a huge party, or traveling the world while staying in expensive hotels is fun, but there are also plenty of the ways to have fun without wasting the fortune, like going for the drink with the friends, traveling the world and staying in the cheap Airbnb flats, or playing basketball for the soccer with friends. It could be whatever. Some of the best ways I have ever have found were time where I spent the last amount of the money. In fact, that's not about the money, but rather about the experience you get, how you feel when you're doing what you are doing. Especially if you have the really good friends, then you can have all the fun in the world and barely waste any money. Remember the opportunity costs we have talked about. Even if you can afford to spend a lot of the money to have fun, don't. You should rather invest that money. Remember that as you get older, your expenses will rise. So having more money later is your life is the wise options. I don't mean that you shouldn't spend anything. There is the point in just keeping money in your bank account, but you also have to be responsible for what you have. There are more points I want to include in these videos, but I will limit them to 5 points. If you guys find this video interesting and helpful, I will definitely make part 2. Anyways, if you are enjoyed this video, you will most definitely enjoy the custom playlist that I have created specifically for you, that has our most popular videos on the business, investing, and the stocks market that can potentially change your life. And now give this video the thumbs up so that it deserves, and make sure you to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Thanks for watching, and until next time.